IVM.
All right, hello and welcome to Football Twaddle. My name is Saru and I have our dear friend Yash with us. Yash, what's up?
Hey man, all good.
I wanted to talk about the match of the week, which is Thomas Tuchel versus Romelu Lukaku. But before
Yes,
that,
that was so entertaining. I mean, from one end rather, Tuchel is a boring mother.
yeah, like I heard his press conferences, he was so boring. But before
Yeah,
that, we should talk. This came at the backdrop of Chelsea versus Liverpool, which I think it's one of the best Premier League games I saw this season, right?
yeah.
And I don't know, like, and there was Arsenal versus Man City or Man City versus Arsenal. I don't know whose home it was, but that
It
was
was Arsenal home.
okay. That was a pretty good game as well, dude.
Yes.
So if I have to start with what was the match of the week, what would you say? Like between those two, which was a better match?
Well, obviously, I'd pick Chelsea versus Liverpool because any match that has any sort of refereeing controversy, you feel a bit sad for the team that gets out the rough side of it. So even if it was Arsenal, yeah, you feel bad for Arsenal for the decisions that, I mean, went against them.
Yes, actually, let's talk about that. I did not watch the game per se,
Right.
but then after you spoke so highly about it, I saw enough parts of the game
Yeah.
to man. Arsenal were so good the first half. They were
Mhm.
genuinely very very good.
Yeah, they were quite good, and Thomas Partey is an excellent player. He's just not been fit enough for them, and they have a bunch of youngsters who are quick, who are enthusiastic, and people are giving too much credit to Arteta for his tactics and whatever. But I don't think so. I think it was the exuberance of youth, the brilliance of Partey that sort of made it very difficult for City to defend.
If it was a Manchester United playing that same way, would you have given credit to the players or Ole?
No man, I obviously to the players.
Wow, you are such a like you have such a baseline of honesty in punditry. That's amazing. Yes. Yeah, but Man City, like it's already so tough to catch them. Now, if they have the
Yep, yep.
referees in the bag who are giving like useless decisions for penalties in like the dying minutes of the game, how can any club catch them?
Yeah, it's difficult to do that, but honestly, I don't have too much of a complaint about the Shaka decision. It was just Shaka being an idiot that he is, or is at certain points of time. But the penalty that Arsenal should have got, where clearly from several angles you can, I mean, despite trying like 100 angles, you could not find the angle where Edison touches the ball before Odegaard does. So
So what
that
was
was the
the
one that really changed it for me.
so what was the reason given like for not giving that a penalty?
I don't know. I guess people are complaining that the game's gone soft. People should be allowed to tackle and this and that.
No, no,
But
forget people. What was VAR's reason?
no, I think they found a way to say that no, he was tackling cleanly, he got the ball or whatever. I just cannot make up my mind. If I believe the popular consensus is that had the VR people asked the referee to go to the screen, then clearly it would have been given.
Yeah, so it's a mistake. They did not even ask him to go to the screen, and this is
Yep.
not just because of Man City or something.
Mhm.
But we are like in 2022. Shouldn't there be an official report by the refereeing body on the decisions taken in the game? You don't have to even say sorry, but at least give justification for what you guys were thinking, right? You have VAR. Like, come on. At least explanation of all the VAR decisions.
No, I'm sure there's a report like that, but given
No,
that the
report
game
given to
can,
us, the public.
so it won't be given to us. Why would it be given to us? Because right now we're moaning about the refs. If the report is made public and if we find out errors made by the whatever the bureaucracy of the FA is, we'll be blaming them as well. So it's more convenient for them to let us just moan about the refs rather than whoever is actually in charge.
No, man, that is so sad. I feel
Yeah,
bad for Arsenal. I mean, after long, somehow they seem to have cobbled together a bunch of like, you know,
decent players.
not even, I don't even know if they're decent, but unwittingly enthusiastic manager and players who are trying to do something. So yeah,
Hmm.
I genuinely wanted them to at least draw the game. Let's talk about Chelsea Liverpool. It was a great weekend for Man City. But oh, some of the chances, like Salah's goal was so good. And I thought, okay, this is a great goal. And then Kovacic comes with a bloody blinder. What the hell
Yeah,
was
that
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 goal?
was goal of the season territory. I mean, to jog back and just time the ball perfectly to volley it and to hit the post, which makes it impossible for the goalie to catch it. That was just perfect. It was brilliant. And
Yes.
the worst part about it was even they were checking it for VR as
Oh,
well for offside.
yes. Did you see Julian Laurent's Twitter on how
Yeah,
Thomas Tuchel was like losing it? It's like, let's
yeah.
go
He
home.
wanted to go home. He wanted to just end it.
What
But
were they
thankfully, the
checking?
goal stood.
Yeah, but what were they checking for VAR? If someone blocked the keeper's view,
Probably, if or they were too close to the ball, so they blocked the keeper from making an incredible save. But
that
rightfully,
VAR that VAR went on for quite some time. It's not
mm,
like it was like quick check and like
yeah, it
done.
should have been a quick check and finished. But yeah, who knows what goes on at Stockley Park?
And who is the manager at Stockley Park? Like even they
God
need a
knows.
manager.
Yeah.
Uh, but all of this is in the backdrop of an interview given by Romelu Lukaku to
Yes.
Sky Italia, where he basically was saying bye to Inter fans and saying how much he loves them
Mhm.
and all that jazz, and he would like to come back one day to Inter, and he loves Lautaro, and he's telling Lautaro, please stay back at Inter, I will come soon,
Yeah.
and all of that, right?
Yep.
Was this interview that big a deal as what it has been made out to be now?
Yeah, it's a big deal because I mean, people, especially the players, the football players these days are coached not only in football but how to speak to the media as well. So they don't speak their heart out. They generally have a very sanitized interviews with whoever. So this is an exception to that, right? I mean, I'm assuming he's being completely honest, and this is. I don't think Lukaku is that sinister to like
No,
make
he's not.
an to send a whatever to send a message to the manager to make him play or whatever.
He actually didn't send any message to manager. I'll come to that because after Thomas Tuchel made it much bigger than
Mm.
what it is,
Yep.
he actually tells what Lukaku is in the pitch, and it is quite simple. He's such a good guy. So
No,
yeah,
but I mean, come on. I mean, if you think about it, Lukaku has never won a big trophy. I mean, apart from the Serie A that he won with Inter, and they stopped Juventus's 9 year streak, so it was a big deal. And apparently, he was celebrating with the fans in the streets after they won the trophy. So he obviously has a special relationship with the club. It's open knowledge that had Inter not had financial troubles, he would have still been there.
yeah, they wouldn't have
So
sold him. So
yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe the tone of it, because we don't speak Italian, the tone of how he said Lautaro don't come to Chelsea, stay there, might have been in jest. That's the only defense I would make of that statement.
yeah, but okay. So first of all, I was happy that a footballer is honest,
Yep.
right? I'm sure if you honestly get Paul Pogba's interviews every year for the last 5 years,
Hmm.
that would be so much more interesting than his Instagram ever will be, right? But
Yeah, but see, the thing is with Paul Pogba, it's become predictable. Every time he goes off to France and there's some problem, he says, "Oh, I need a new challenge," and blah blah. So, and it's sort of well known right now that he's not going to sign another contract with United. With Lukaku, it's not even been like the ink is not dry on his Chelsea contract yet, right?
yeah,
It's not like he had a long failure, like he's in a Van der Beek type situation where he's not playing. It's just, I mean, you think, what are you doing? It's been so soon. How can you give such an interview? It boggles the mind.
yeah, but if you ask all the questions about Inter Milan, anyway. So did this interview or the snippets of interview justify Thomas Tuchel getting him out of the matchday squad itself? Especially when you don't have strikers, you know you're already behind Manchester City. You know that you have to literally win this game. Is it not better to at least keep him on the bench?
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, this was not the only punishment. I think there was some financial fine as well, which
That is
I don't
such
know whether that was
bullshit. I
necessary.
can't believe that. Like,
Yeah,
oh
I mean,
god.
I don't know this. So, I mean, these footballers are so rich that these fines don't work. So, if he wanted to send a message, then keeping him out would have been right. or maybe it's just a clever ploy by tactical Tuchel, because I personally don't think Lukaku was at all the right person for this game. I think he would have spent the entire game sort of, having a, I don't know, a Greco-Roman type duel with the defenders, wrestling match with the defenders, and I think Chelsea were better served by their faster, quicker players against a team like Liverpool.
Yes, I know. Aspi must be so proud that he ran. So after that, Chelsea and Tuchel and Lukaku had like meetings for 3 days, right? I don't know what is this like. Do you love us? Yes, sir, I do. So that went on for like 3 days, and finally, what had to be done was done. Thomas Tuchel in his press conference says, "I have never. This boy has never misbehaved. He's the utmost professional on the training pitch, on the ground, in his personal life." And we have had never any problems with him. And so he basically waxes glowing about Lukaku and says it's not as big a deal as you guys in the media would like it to be, but it's not a small thing as well. What does that enigmatic sentence mean?
I think he's desperate for the limelight to be somewhere else. So he's just coming up with all these random statements, and I don't think he's very good at it, man. I mean, in a similar scenario, I'm sure our man Mo would have found something more weirdly controversial or made a bunch of other statements that would have shifted the limelight to himself rather than the player.
Dude, Mo would have killed this. First of all, he would have shown the player his place in the press conference only, right? Not like I'll wait for apology from you in behind closed doors. He will literally probably drag the player in the press conference. Sorry, Bull. So yeah, like this is just crazy. Anyway, and then Lukaku does the most PR managed interview, where they have shots of him hugging Tuchel before training and all of that. And then he basically says, look, that interview I probably should have worded better. I'm sorry, it's up to me to win back the trust. But this was an interview basically to say bye to the Inter fans more than anything, and that's how I spoke. Maybe I should have chosen my words better, and that's the end of it. But my dear Chelsea fans are ready to boo him and show him his place. Oh God, this is rife. This now will be.
No, but that's okay. I think Chelsea fans are. They'll just boo him and get over with it, man. They're such flip floppers that they'll boo him, then he'll score a couple of goals, and they'll be okay with him by Republic
Day. You know why I became a Newcastle fan, right? I told you on the weekend. It's the toxic Chelsea fan culture, which has pushed me towards the richer clubs. Yeah. So anyway, that's done. And lo and behold, Lukaku is going to play against Antonio Conte in a League Cup semi-final. Yes. Wow. What? Imagine he scores his own goal there. That's it. That's going to be madness. Yeah. And let's talk about other game you and I saw, some part of it together. Getafe versus Real Madrid. We didn't even want to watch this game, but it just somehow happened that it was playing at that time.
It was interesting to watch a game from one of the other good leagues on the weekend.
Yeah, Getafe played well. And from what and Eden Hazard tried, he ran.
Man, what a player he was, and how the mighty have fallen.
Why? He should just retire. He should say, I'm tired of all this crap.
Yeah, or invent a disease. Or maybe there's one going around which is affecting people all over the world, which he can claim he has.
There is. It's called obesity. And he can do that, poor guy. Anyway, so what other games you saw on the weekend, Yash? Let me just get on this. What were the other...
And the weekend was a bit long. Unfortunately, I managed to also watched this thing. United lose.
Oh, yes. I didn't want to talk about it, but I will, because I have a soft corner for Wolves. I think that is known. But man, even a baby is crying at the way United played. Dude.
All babies should cry. Anyway, I mean, it was pitiful performance. Maybe the players assume that Ralf Rangnick is a temporary manager and won't appoint himself. So they're sort of taking it easy. On the other hand, Wolves, I mean, they have that midfield set with Ruben Neves and Moutinho. I mean, they've been playing well for several years, and it was head and shoulders above what United had.
Yeah, and Podence, he played such a good game. Yeah. And all our Barca friends should take note that, Trincao and
Semedo.
Semedo, dude, they're not bad players. It's just
Yeah.
Barca is a crap club. But man, they Wolves played so well. What is with this 4-2-2-2? Like, what is going on? And now I'm reading reports for the second week in running that players are already disillusioned and they're thinking of long term and they're like, this guy is going to just stay for 6 months. So
Yeah,
whatever.
but what does that mean? I mean, so many United players are coming to the end of their contract. Very few of them, I mean, for a big squad, very few of them actually play like 40 games a season and all that. So this is not surprising. I mean, it's a big clear out is coming, like the likes we've not seen at United anyway. So yeah, and this 4-2 system, it's odd. I mean, I don't like the system. It's basically going back to the classic old 4-4-2 without the right players to play that system, because Cavani and Ronaldo up front, I don't know. It won't work.
Yeah, I think it should only be Cavani up front, Ronaldo on the left,
Yeah,
and
possibly.
play Sancho on the right. Why is Sancho again playing on the left? This is so annoying.
Yeah, I mean, see, the obvious excuse is that everyone had COVID, so only 6 people could train together at a time. So it's just not coming together. It looks like a very disjointed team. Thankfully, United have an FA Cup tie, which, I mean, I don't know what that is. I don't. I mean, it's the only tournament that is winnable or whatever this season. But United have Aston Villa coming up, so it's all up in the air. This month, he better get it together, Ralph.
You think it is like they missed Harry Maguire? Dare I
No,
say the name?
because a certain Phil Jones played, and he was the best player on the pitch for United.
He played well, right?
He played very, very well. I mean, unfortunately, the goal that Moutinho scored came off. I mean, the headed clearance could have been better, but he was brilliant. For a guy who's not played for like nearly 2 years, he was pretty solid at centre back.
Yeah, I think Phil Jones should be given more respect by United guys. That guy, whatever said and done, poor guy always gives his 100%, whatever his ability is,
Yeah.
which cannot be said really for many of the United players. And one more thing, why is Rashford not scoring goals? Like, what's up with his form?
That's difficult to say. He came back from injury and scored a couple of goals in the next game, so we thought he's back. But again, I mean, I feel Rashford was well suited for the counter-attacking system that Ole used to play a couple of years ago. Then people realized how United plays, so they just stopped pushing forward beyond the half line. And since then, his goals have dried up. I mean, he's around 25 now. He's not going to have his pace all the time. So it's about time he learns a few new tricks or finds a way to assist rather than score goals and becomes a different player, because I don't think he's an out and out number 9. So yeah, I mean, he's not succeeding right now, but the fact that he's not scoring might be a positive for him to look at his game and evolve into a different type of a player.
Okay, the last question before we get to a break. Arsenal, West Ham, Tottenham, Manchester United. Who among these four are the favorites to take that fourth spot?
I think West Ham right now,
because they beat Crystal Palace 3-2.
Yeah, they beat Crystal Palace 3-2, and I think their owners are rich enough, and if ever there's a need to back their manager and use their funds in the January transfer window, it is now. Jesse Lingard is screaming practically from his social media that he wants to go there. I mean, as openly as he can.
Really? Has Manchester United not asked him to say sorry to Ralph Rangnick and the fans?
Because he's smart, right? He's doing cryptic things like putting up his West Ham jersey on his Instagram.
Oh, he did that, dude. That is so much worse than what Lukaku did. Lukaku gave this interview a month ago.
No, but that's okay. It's whatever. I mean, his hopes of Manchester United don't rest on Jesse Lingard as Chelsea's do on Lukaku, right? So it doesn't matter, and he's not being played at all. So Lingard is one of them. Maybe they should try to back Moyes to the hilt.
They should buy Lingard, and Manchester United should sell Van de Beek to a club worthy, which is Newcastle United. Just make it happen. We have the news. Kieran Trippier is almost done deal.
Yep. What a brilliant
and
transfer window.
And
start to the transfer window.
And cheap as well, dude.
Yeah, but his contract was ending anyway, right? So
I know, but that's not the point. Let's just gloat that it was cheap as well. So good business done types.
Yeah, brilliant. So there's a lot of money left in the bank account to buy bigger players.
Oh, you mean from the $1 trillion we spent 12 million on Trippier, but we need. I mean, talking a little about Newcastle, we haven't
Yep.
played for like 15 days, 16 days, so no one knows what is going on. Now
Yeah,
they're
but
getting.
Eddie Howe converted uh, Joe Linton into a good CDM, so that was a positive.
Yeah, but I don't like the face cut of Joelinton. He always looks like someone who is like he was
Hmm.
probably dyslexic in his childhood and he doesn't understand.
Yeah, making fun of mental disease.
No, I mean, okay, fine, whatever. That's a
Hmm.
very rude comment. I shouldn't be making. But all I care about is Saint Maxima and John Joe Shelby. Now Trippier. We have a good keeper, not as good as Jose Sa. So yeah, good on Joelinton. That's all I can say.
I mean, we need to buy someone to play on the opposite wing of Saint Maxima, so that there's like a double threat rather than just piling on one side and double teaming him or whatever.
Yeah, and what is this Aubameyang? Why is he coming to Newcastle? Why is
Oh
he trying to
God,
ruin
I
our
hope
club already?
again. Yeah. That would be a bad transfer. Let him stay at Arsenal.
So yeah, what about Tottenham's chances? You said you is it like a heart speaking that you would rather see West Ham in top four than
Yeah,
Antonio Conte?
absolutely. It's my heart speaking that I'd rather see West Ham than these lot.
All right,
Because
okay.
West Ham can collapse next season once they play in the Champions League.
once
Spurs.
once Jesse Lingard confirms his transfer, they will collapse. Yeah. Okay, we should take a break right now. After the break, do you have a player of the week in mind?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that then. Stay tuned to Football Portal.
Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Advertising is Dead, Varun talks to Anil Vishwanathan of Mondelez India. They discuss the beloved Cadbury brand and its campaigns over the years. On Speakeasy, Dheeraj is in conversation with Ranjit Pratap Singh, the CEO and co-founder of Pratilipi. Hey, that's our parent company. They talk about how Ranjit tapped into the need for non-English storytelling content and created a company with over 30 million readers worldwide. On Smarter with Sid, resolved to have better resolutions. Sid tells us how understanding the difference between objectives and outcomes can be liberating. On Tere Mere Raaste, Keshu takes us to Dubai, world of skyscrapers, world-class infrastructure, glittering malls, and massive boulevards. On the Life Manifesto, Zarina goes over the concept of self-abandonment. She explains the do's and don'ts of dealing with it. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, do tell a friend. The word of mouth absolutely is essential to us. Don't forget to rate us on any of the platforms that you've been listening to. And also, I'd like to ask everybody to check us out on YouTube. We have a number of channels going. You can find all of them on ivmpodcast.com/YouTube. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Cred, Bank of Baroda, CoinSwitch Kuber, and Intel. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Okay, welcome back to Football Portal. Yes, let's start. Who is your player of the week?
It's gonna be Kovacic for that brilliant goal.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, he was pretty decent. He's always like a 7 on 10 in midfield anyway. So this was a brilliant goal. It's gonna be in people's memories for a while.
Oh, that way. Okay, I have two players of the week. One probably is out of nostalgia and loving the player, and the one probably deserves it. One is Lanzini of West Ham.
Yeah.
He scored 2 goals,
Brilliant.
won the game for them. Amazing. But I wanted to give it to Dan James.
Oh, how come?
Because he scored. He scored. Forget anything else. He scored. And Leeds won their game 3-1. And while we are like faffing on about top four, United, and how Arsenal were cheated, everything, Leeds, our grand frauder, has now moved Leeds up the table and he's put a sizable distance between him and the 18th position team. It looks like Leeds will, and all this COVID postponements maybe may have helped the team rest a bit as well.
Yeah, you need rest when you play the Bielsa team. So I think this has worked out well for them. And I think no news is good news for them, right? I mean, people usually talk about Leeds, but we haven't heard much about them for a month. A month ago, everyone was talking about, oh, will they get relegated? Is this the end of Bielsa? But yeah.
Yeah, they're not I don't think they're getting relegated, man. They're at 19 points and they're quite comfortable. All right, let's get to this. What are the games? It's the FA Cup weekend, and so there's going to be some crazy games. So, yes, what is the game you would want to watch in your busy schedule? Like, I have to watch this game. Like, there's no if, no but, only this game. Like, what is that game?
Well, since we spoke about them, West Ham play Leeds United.
Dude, really? That's what you want to watch?
Yeah, why not?
There are so many games of teams we heard of but never see and things like that. But you want to watch another Premier League game.
It's okay, man. We'll get to see players that we have not seen but only read in FPL.
Yeah, like Liverpool versus Shrewsbury. You don't want to watch that?
No, dude. What the
Or Nottingham Forest versus Arsenal. One of the teams has won two
Actually,
Europe
that's a pretty good game. Yeah, one of the teams is a former European champion. Yes.
and one are Arteta's upstarts. Okay, let's actually go to this Stoke and Leighton Orient. It's not like I want to watch. And there's Chesterfield Cigarettes versus Chelsea.
Chesterfield Cigarettes.
The Chesterfield Cigarettes were a big brand in the US in the 50s. Otherwise, it's just Chesterfield. Dude, there's some Wigan versus Blackburn. Crazy game.
There's Hartlepool versus Blackpool. What is like this? The pool derby.
Yes, but I have two games of the week as I had players of the week. One is Newcastle versus Cambridge because it'll finally give us an opportunity to watch our beloved team after like a month to actually see if they know football or they've forgotten everything about it. And we should hope that they beat a university team.
Yes.
But on, I think, on the 6th, if I'm not wrong, 6th or 7th, there is going to be Roma versus AC Milan. So if our podcast is out before that, that is my game of the week. If it's out after that game, then Newcastle versus Cambridge is my game of the week. What's your prediction for whatever game you chose? What is the crap game you chose?
West Ham versus Leeds, bro. I think West Ham are going to crash them like finally.
Because Bielsa will rest everyone again.
No, he'll play the same people who'll be tired.
Okay, how many goals will Souček score?
Souček will score 2.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure. Souček's favorite food during Christmas time is potato salad.
Man, all this healthiness.
No, I don't think he could remember any other food item. He said potato salad. I think Newcastle are going to beat Cambridge like 6-2 with like Shea Given will come on and score a goal. It's going to be that kind of trashing where retired players start coming on and playing. Yeah, that's what. So this is the FA Cup weekend. Chill out, relax. And when is the Premier League starting again? 15th or 16th,
the
right?
weekend after that, there's no international break for a while. So every weekend we have something.
Yeah. Oh, and like before we close, some interesting transfer news. It looks like a guy called Maitland-Niles is moving on loan to Roma.
Nice.
I don't even know. What position does he play?
No, he's one of those typical Arsenal floaters, dude.
No, but what does he float on? Like what part of the pitch?
No, nobody knows. Like it's either left back or number 10 or I mean he's too weak to play CDM, so CAM box to box.
So why is Roma paying £500,000?
No, because he can run around, right? Mourinho will use him he'll bring him on in the 70th minute to just be the 6th defender from the front.
Oh God, I can't wait for Mo to abuse Maitland-Niles in press conference next month. And Ferran Torres, we spoke a little in our end of season episode, but this had completely skipped my mind. The Barca president said, "We are back. Look out for us."
Wow. I mean, the best part was him saying that Man City is a stepping stone for me to get.
No, that's Ferran Torres saying, which you can understand. He's the anti-Lukaku. He praises the club he goes to. But why is Barcelona president saying, when even they can't even register this guy, why is he saying
no, they can't register him?
Not yet. They have to sell people.
Oh, okay. So what, they're going to sell Luke de Jong now? Who's going to buy him?
So they supposedly Xavi loves Alvaro Morata, the greatest floater on earth.
Wow, man. That I mean, I read that. I thought it's like some kind of. You remember that there was I think December 29th or something is supposed to be the April Fool's Day of Spain.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's bizarre. But anyway, I thought that was a part of that package.
Dude, no, I don't think so because Juventus are pissed off with Barcelona. Imagine the fight. Juventus are like, how can you talk to him without talking to us? He's our player. And then Xavi is like, no, I need Morata.
Like, Xavi is doing some bad deals since Qatar, dude. I mean, 2 years ago, we spoke about how Morata is like a token for money laundering. This just confirms it. Dude. Like, this is some weird Qatari sheikh has told Xavi to buy him, and from Havana, some money is going to go somewhere.
But that's the thing. They can't register the guy they bought.
Right.
They don't have the money for it. They need Ousmane Dembele to basically say, I will not take salary for the next 6 months at least.
Dude, that guy's chilling. He's
like get out. And
for him, I think he believes that is like state welfare or something he's receiving. So
why not, dude? What is this bullshit? Why should, like, even if you're not working, yes, if someone asks you to make a salary zero because you want to register someone else, would you say yes?
No, I'm not dummy always. Anyway, so precisely, so maybe this is a part of some weird hawala that Xavi gets two players. He gets Morata and Juventus get money from somewhere. Some money is exchanged. That's why he must be after Morata. Because maybe he cannot sign Ferran Torres if he does not sign Morata also. This is some dirty scheme by Juventus who knows to get rid of...
I'm sure something is happening. But now either they have to sell Serginho Dest and Coutinho to register Ferran Torres, or they need people like Dembele to say no salary. Yeah. The problem with Barcelona was that they had some $1.4 billion of debt. Okay? So you know how they're planning to get out of it? They've taken $600 million more debt from Goldman Sachs.
Yeah. Well, you need to spend money to make money, as they say in America.
Yes, and then they need to refinance the stadium. So they are going to take on another $1.5 billion of debt.
Someone needs to sit them down and make them watch this movie called The Big Short.
Dude, so we may, if even one or two things go wrong, we may not see that club ever.
That's not going to happen. They're too valuable a brand value. I think... I hope whatever happened to Rangers happens to them.
Yes, and Steven Gerrard moves to Barcelona.
Becomes a manager would be excellent.
That would be so cool. With Gary Neville as assistant manager. Oh, geez. Before closing on the podcast, after the Lukaku brouhaha, Gary Neville said, that is so bad. How can he say about his teammates like that? And people ask Gary, so do you want players to only talk to you on golf courses? Or if they give other interviews, you say it's terrible. Why is Gary Neville being so sanctimonious? Yes.
No, but that's okay. He's a full-time journalist right now. He can be like that. That if someone does not give me an interview, then he's muzzling the media, he can say.
Oh yeah,
that's like Boris Johnson. I think he's hesitant for Boris Johnson because he wants to interview Boris Johnson. That's why he's complaining about him all the time.
Oh yes, yeah. And Liverpool have requested that their game,
it's been postponed.
It has been.
Even Pep Linders has.
Yeah, like why did it take so many days to postpone it? They're like, we have shut down the training ground. They're like, dekhte. You still have first team players, but it's crazy. And a wave is going to hit India as well. So yes, I hope you're masking up and staying safe.
Yes, be careful.
All right, guys, please be careful and just watch football at home. It's the FA Cup weekend, the glorious tradition, the oldest tournament in the world. And after that, I think it's the Durand Cup or Santosh Trophy, one of the two. I don't remember now. It was a quiz question. Durand Cup, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just watch and let's watch the Newcastle Sheikhs kick a university team to oblivion. Yes, on that note. Farewell, man of culture. Bye, folks. Take care.
Eventually, you'll see the end of your childhood.
Get accustomed to womanhood.
Enjoy the experience of sisterhood.
Might get to wifehood.
Or not. Choose motherhood.
Or not. You'll learn to define your personhood.
Earn a livelihood.
Change the neighborhood.
And get rid of the falsehood that life post-academia is easy.
So join me, Natasha.
And me, Ayushi.
On a journey from station starting point.
To station, what now?
Next station, Pudin Station. And hopefully, Agla Station, adulthood.
Fresh episodes out every Thursday.
पेश खिदमत है आपकी शान में हमारे अंजुमन से. Hi, I am Sadaf.
And I'm Arshit. खाने का इतिहास, economics, policy, psychology, सब है मेन्यू पर।
ओनली ऑन द नानकारी पॉडकास्ट एवरी वेडनेसडे, सिर्फ IVM पॉडकास्ट ऐप या वेबसाइट पर, या फिर जहां से भी आप अपने पॉडकास्ट सुनते हो।